Coach Todd here, USA Track and Field Masters, Anvil Sports Track and Field Team. Today, it's kind of just like a special message for all the athletes. It's something I noticed that needs to be brought to the forefront, and it is the primary energy and attitude needed per event. So, I noticed that when you do explosive events, which are a majority in track and field, sprints are very explosive, jumps are very explosive, pole vaults are very explosive, hurdles are very explosive, every throw is an explosive event, all are explosive. Then you have your more endurance events. Those are all your 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 meter races, all those. Even steeplechase is explosive because you got to jump over the steeplechase, you got to get over, you got to run. So you have, a pocket of endurance. Then most things are explosive in track. So we'll talk about the explosive. So for all explosive events, you have to have what I call you have to choose violence, which means it requires a very violent energy and approach to the event when you're doing it. When you get up to throw or sprint or jump, and you find yourself in a passive attitude, jokey, passive attitude, worried about offending people, you're still back at the house in the Truman Show neighborhood where you're being polite to people and PC, and then you have to run down that runway and hurl your body in the air into a sand pit. The nervous system doesn't get amped up enough to pull it off. That's actually where people get injured, or you just have a sucky jump. You get into blocks, you don't explode out of the blocks well enough, and you think, I tried hard. Because you are trying hard. It's not enough force for the event. It takes force to move that weighted throw. It takes force to move that jab. It takes force to move your body down the track extremely fast. You can't be looking around. You can't be acting like you're at the final leg of a 5K and you're running. That's the wrong attitude appropriation for the event. So you have to put your brain in a place where a lot of people are used to, where you're thinking like very aggressive thoughts that's putting your body, nervous system, and your energy and your flow in a place that matches what you need to do. It would be like if you saw someone attacking someone in your family or your baby, and you had a casual, PC attitude about addressing the attacker. Our systems are developed with adrenaline and rage and aggression for those moments. These multi-track and field events are those moments, and you have to make sure that you're feeling that way at the point of doing it. You can do whatever you want, in between when you're not doing it, but when it comes time to do the activity, you have to go there in your head. That's why I call it choose violence. When it comes to endurance events, it's something juxtaposed to it, which is on another extreme level. One of the hardest things I've done in my life, and I've told people, is when I was in the Army, we did a 30-mile march at Fort Knox, Kentucky, up and down Heartbreak Hill, Old Misery Hill. These hills are so steep, it would just shock you. You know, we're marching with full gear on, holding our rifles, and can't put them in our belt, gotta hold them out here the entire time, marching in fatigues, boots, wool socks, in 95-degree heat, and we're at cadence with the drill sergeant who's doing it easy, and you're watching a deuce and a quarter, the big Army trucks go up the hill and like fall backwards before you go, it's barely climbing up it. Then we have to do it. And it's like a 30-mile march. I was so spent. Then we had to pitch our own tents afterwards. I virtually had no energy even to pitch my tent to be able to sleep at night. But I had to go to a place that has extreme perseverance in my brain. If I just brought a violent attitude, it would just fizz out. I'm like, oh, we got 29.75 miles to go, and my violent attitude's burned up. So I had to get into perseverance and a lot of mind control to keep me going. The other thing I did, which was probably the hardest, was it was an 8-mile death run, and we had to do it all as a platoon in the same pace and the same cadence. We had to talk, say cadence all the time, of which I cheated and said it half the time when the drill sergeant was looking at me. And the guy leading us was like a college distance runner. It was an art, so he wanted to win and beat the other platoon so bad, and we did. But that forced me to run at that pace. And that's the first time in my life doing an athletic event where I actually thought I was going to pass out after finishing it. I barely made it to the barracks. But that was a perseverance thing. So these things you have to go to you can't not go to extreme perseverance. You can't not go to extreme violence. Whatever event you're doing, you better get your head in that energetic space so you don't just blame it on your physical. Say, oh, I didn't do. No, you got to also look at your mindset while you did the event or while you're practicing the event. So keep that in mind when you're practicing and doing your events now, that you have to get yourself in touch. That's what music is for. That's what imagination is for. You have to do it on purpose. And then you will see it translate to higher performance. Coach Todd, until next time.